Welcome to Bitches in Season, a podcast for everyone who loves dogs,
all things agility, and some spicy tea. I'm Lizzie.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Lindsay.
Bitches in Season.
Hello, and welcome back to Bitches in Season.
Hi.
It's episode 6, and we're doing another hot take.
We
had so much fun doing our last hot take episode where we talked about bitches in season.
Obviously.
So we wanted to do another one. And this is one that we had always talked about doing this topic.
We got a few requests to do this. I think we got the most requests to do this topic.
A few times. But we're going to make you wait for a second because first I want to talk about what have you been up to in your little dog sport universes. First of all, massive shout out to Rachel. She's halfway to her mock with Chessie.
Yay!
QQ number 10.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe we're halfway. How's it feel? I'm in this journey now. I wish that we could get it done by the end of the year, but I feel like that's not realistic.
It's not unrealistic.
It's not unrealistic. Once fall starts coming around, I'm going to get back into the mindset where I need to start prepping for the Open and ISCH and I'm going to put AKC on a back burner. It's going to happen when it's going to happen. And it's just nice that we're halfway there. Yeah.
I'm really proud of you. And I'll be honest, I was at the trial on Saturday, did not get a double Q. And neither did you.
No.
We were both in funky moods.
Yeah.
But then
Cassie was
happened.
perfect.
Oh, right.
Can we just Cassie's day on Saturday?
Yeah,
it was Cassie's day.
Cassie day, and then Sunday was Chessie day.
She let Cassie have his moment, and then she's like, no, it's my turn again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Lizzie and I just did a USDA team event.
We did.
How did it go? What'd you think?
It was so much fun, and I canceled an AKC trial to go to a USDAA regional event.
Because we had so much fun.
We did. It was so much fun. It was
talked
so
you into
much
it.
fun. Yeah.
But I've never been to a regional, so I can't wait to see what it's like.
I'm really excited. We'll see how it goes.
You're on a team with 2 strangers, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
No, it'll be good.
I hope we're competitive. Can I
You will
say
be.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope we're somewhat competitive.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. We got 3rd place last time, and I'm like, I want a place. I want a plaque. I want a medal. I want a ribbon. I want...
It could be a hard fall from the top.
Yeah.
But I also went into that weekend telling you, don't worry, I don't care. I don't care how you do. And then we ended the first day in 3rd place.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, now here's your gambler plan, and you need to do this, and make sure you don't do that. And
and we held it together. Baby Cassie held it together.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
That was honestly the best I've ever seen him look and the best I've ever seen you.
Yeah.
So massive, massive shout out.
I know. Maybe I do need more pressure, but not AKC pressure, because when I put AKC pressure on myself, I run horrible.
We can all admit you're just careful.
It was a mixture of I just wanted to get out of Open, and I put this stupid pressure on myself, and then well, let's be honest, the courses weren't super flowy, and USDAA courses are so nice. The lines are really nice. And
you were running so hard.
I was running hard, but I could run hard because I knew I had time to get the blinds and everything in.
Yeah,
and
they weren't crunchy courses.
Yeah. Well,
Crunchy courses.
Couldn't say the same about Sunday, or Saturday. But we got it done, and that's all that matters. And hey, he listened. He listened every single time I said, no. Oh my God.
The screams.
No.
Well, today's topic, like we said, is a hot take. And Rachel told us that we got a lot of form requests and Instagram DMs about doing this topic. So the topic is the sport mix debate. We're calling this episode Mixed Bag Bitches, because we're just going to talk all about mixes. What's the good mix? What's the bad mix? What's the mixes we like? What's the mixes we
don't like?
Critique.
Yeah.
Hate. And I think this is going to be a really fun one because I think we have some differing opinions. So I get to kind of be on one side of things sometimes, and maybe we'll disagree, but it'll be fun to talk about. Lizzie, why don't you talk to us about this term that's always thrown around, sport mix. Seems like a newer kind of term.
It is a newer term. I think sport mix, it ranges. There's a lot of different sport mixes now. We have the border paps, the border whippets were the original sport mixes. And I think sport mixes as a whole are dogs that were bred specifically for performance sports. So flyball, agility, dock diving. They're usually mixed with very fast dogs, and it's all about speed. right?
Yeah, speed and power, or just combining different desirable traits.
Yeah.
There's also a sport mix that has its own name, which is lurcher, which is where you're breeding some sort of
Right.
like sight hound to
Hound.
something more maybe herdy.
Where the border whippets come in.
Yeah.
We have a lot of friends who have a lot of sport mixes now. They're very common in our area.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of friends who have sport mixes.
Seems
We
to be
see
a big
them.
trend.
Yes, it's very trendy right now. But I also, while they are very trendy, I see a lot of people breeding them that may be from not proven sport lines. So,
What do you mean by proven sport lines? What does that mean to you?
to me, proven means like, do they have high level agility titles, high level sport titles, like what they were bred to do performance wise? Do they have the titles to back that up?
Rachel, why don't you tell us just like what's your concept of a sport mix, and does that differ from what Lizzie shared?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think a sport mix is ideally two different breeds bred for performance, not trends or looks or pet. You know, the breeder often has a very long wait list. They're taking two dogs that have high titles in, say, agility or flyball or whatever their proven sport is, and combining them to get a more desirable performance dog. So these dogs aren't being taken because they both do agility, say. They're taken because they are going to create a cross that's going to improve, you know, the two dogs combined. So they'll be almost better.
So it's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Like to mix these amazing qualities from one breed that's been bred for years to have these really strong qualities, like say a sight hound that has incredible speed and power, but maybe not the best like listening ears, or maybe sometimes
so
not the most agile.
They'll find a dog that kind of complements. If you put them together, they'll complement that. So like, you know, balance each other out really.
That's interesting. So I think in general, I'll just have to say, like, this is a topic I'm learning so much about. I really do not think that I'm an expert on it. It's really just like something I've been a, you know, viewer of, or I've seen kind of emerge in the sport as I've done it for the past just handful of years. So there's probably a lot more to it than maybe any of us know about anyway.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
But that's just like our basic understanding of sport mixes. And I want to get into, because I think at the core of this conversation today is like the concept of responsible breeding and what that means. And I think, you know, each of us come from that different perspective about maybe what that means, because there is a lot of nuance and gray area about responsible breeding.
Yeah, and I think we've all changed our opinions on what we think was a responsible breeder. I mean, from my personal background, I had no idea what a responsible breeder was when I got Obi. And then obviously Obi had some health issues. So then I was like, okay, well, they need to do this, this, and this. And then that is obviously the best dog if they do X, Y, and Z.
So you went from like, I went to a backyard breeder.
Correct.
And then you went like way hard in the other direction of like, I'm going to find the world's most responsible breeder ever because I had a difficult time having had a dog from a backyard breeder.
Yes. Yeah. And so I went to somebody who has conformation dogs, and I was like, okay, they need to have good structure. Structure like was so important to me. And I was like, conformation, structure, put those hand in hand. And I was like, all the dogs have championships, then they must have good structure, then they must be good dogs.
Good at what?
Just, you know, a good dog.
Okay. So did you think that like a great dog that has great structure and champion lines could be really successful in agility by nature?
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm laughing because, well, once again, my opinion has changed on that.
But I think your opinion changed, but also like your goals changed too.
Yes,
like maybe when you were having that opinion, you wanted a dog that was more structurally sound and not going to be out of agility for 6 months at a time due to injuries.
Like I've dealt with for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
So, and while I will say there's not been one thing wrong with Cassian, he's not had one health issue. And I mean, granted, he's only 2 years old, but like he hasn't had a single health issue, and he's never been to the vet other than just for wellness and like routine rehab appointments. Structurally, he is super sound. But, you know, as far as performance, would I say that he is the best performance dog? No, like it's reality, right? He's not the
But
best
you're
agility
going
dog.
by speed only. And I think to everyone else, like he could be a great performance dog. He can do dock. He could do obedience if he wanted. He could do rally if he wanted. He could be herding. Like he is very versatile. So in that sense, like he is a great performance dog. But if you're trying to like win the 20-inch class at a regional event
or make a world team, he's not going to be that dog.
Yeah.
Correct.
But, you know, everyone's measurement of like a good dog and what your goals are evolved. So, Rachel, how have your views on maybe sport mixes evolved over time?
I was similar to Lizzie, where I felt that a reputable breeder was only going to breed purebred dogs. I'm very much, still am a purebred snob. I hate when people take a cardigan and a Pembroke and mix them together. There's no reason to do that. And I feel very strongly about that because a Pembroke is my breed. But what I've opened myself up to, because I'm so much more involved in agility and dog sports in general, I do feel that a reputable breeder can take two different breeds of dogs and put them together and make an amazing sport mix. I think that a reputable breeder is going to be health testing. They're going to be health testing both parents for the breed-specific health tests. And they're going to have proven performance titles. So both of those parents should have, you know, some type of titles, maybe not obviously on both ends.
Well, and I think also, if you don't mind, I'm going to cut in here. But like, I think that's kind of what is missing in a lot of conformation dogs. And like, they have all of these champions and they say that they can do X, Y, and Z. And a lot of them do not actually have the performance titles to back it up. So like these breeders are saying they'll make a great agility prospect or they'll make a great X, Y, and Z prospect. But it's like, they might have like offspring, but there's not a lot of dogs that they're breeding that have performance. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm always a little wary when someone, and this is a generalization, but when someone who only has ever done conformation is breeding primarily conformation dogs and then says, ooh, this litter is going to make a good agility dog.
Right.
Because what that usually means to me is people who are misinterpreting pushiness as drive, which is drive is like the most... like, what does this even mean word, right? I want a dog with drive. Okay, what does that mean? Like, that can mean excitable, over-aroused, pushy,
and pushy not in a good way.
Naughty, reactive, anxious. Like, that could manifest as a lot of different things.
Right.
Versus maybe drive would be like great handler and optical focus and desire to work and bidability and all of those qualities that someone who understands performance and is breeding with that behind them might understand a little bit better.
Yeah, rather than just be like, well, this dog was the first one out of the gate, so they're going to make the best agility dog.
Yeah,
you know
that
what I mean?
always worries me when I hear people say that that's kind of what they're looking for, or that's the advice they were given by a primarily conformation breeder who doesn't know what qualities might make a great agility dog specifically.
Yeah, you know, just maybe the average person who wants to get involved in like agility or doesn't want to do it at a high level. It could be keyword, a good dog for them.
As long as the conformation breeder's not picking like the naughty one and being like, here you go, you're going to have a great time doing agility with this dog that's actually kind of like maybe unstable, which is what they're misreading as drive. Okay, so Rachel, you said health testing, proven performance, and what else do you think makes like a great responsible sport mix breeding?
Having a reason to breed these two breeds together or these two specific dogs. They have a knowledge of their structure and their temperament and genetics, and they know that this cross is going to produce a great litter of puppies that's going to perform very well in sports.
So, okay, let me just be devil's advocate, just because these are the questions people might have. Like you said, you know, border paps, you're generally like okay with that cross, but you said like Cardi to Pem in the Corgi world, no.
No, because there's nothing you can do to cross a Pembroke and a Cardigan together that's going to improve either one of those breeds. There's just not. There's no way, there's no reason to do it because it is not bettering either one of those breeds. It's not making them faster. You're not combining any traits together that's going to make a better version of what we already have. And I feel very strongly about that. A Cardigan is more aloof and they have traits that are so different from a Pembroke who, you know, they're a little bit more stubborn and sassy and like a little bit more drivey. Like some people will be like, I don't want the stubbornness of a Pembroke, but I like the Pembroke better. Well, then find a breed that's going to fit that But when these people are breeding these crosses, like these sport mixes, they're taking two breeds and they're proven in the sport, and they're making a litter of puppies that is going to perform maybe just slightly better than what these two dogs are.
Generation
Yeah.
before. So,
Right.
so you're saying that people who are breeding Cardis and Pems in general, again, generalizing, are doing it for like aesthetics to make a
reasons,
Pembroke
people
like
want,
Merle or
yes,
something.
right. And that's the number one thing is like, and I see it all the time in local Facebook corgi groups, is people will be like, I have a brindle Pembroke. And I'm like, that's literally not even a thing that can happen. Or they'll be like, I have a blue Merle Pembroke, and that color does not exist in our breed. It only exists in the cardigan. So I know for a fact that dog, that Pembroke, was obviously mixed with something else to get that color.
But what if it was like a pet person who wanted that?
I still hate it. I still hate it. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. They are literally picking a dog based on color.
Yeah.
And that's what Lizzie did. And look what happened. No offense. Look what happened.
Look what
to you.
happened. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you. But at the end of the day, like, pet people are going to want a pet that looks cute.
I understand, but my thing is that if you're looking for just a pet, then find a breed that fits your needs, not based on looks. And
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Well,
But that's not reality,
it's
though.
not
That's my
reality.
argument, though, with the sport mixes. People are not going to seek out a sport mix to keep it as a pet. People that are seeking out sport mixes are looking for it for agility or flyball as their next amazing sport prospect. And people that are seeking out a blue Merle Pembroke are not seeking that out because they want it to be the next herding champion.
Can
They
you
want
tell
it.
Rachel is really passionate about
Yeah.
this?
Yes, it makes me so angry. Like, I have opened my mind, and I'm so much more willing to like learn. And I maybe I will own a sport mix one day. Like, I can say that confidently. I probably will, but I will never, ever, ever own a corgi mix in general because it just makes no sense to me.
I understand for you, it doesn't make sense, but I could see how like Joe family off the street who wants a dog and thinks Blue Merle is pretty and like doesn't want a tail, like could be compelled to want that. Or like, let me give you an example, which of course you guys know, but like I had this friend who was looking for a dog. God, I hope she doesn't listen to this, or if she does, I apologize, but I won't reveal any information. But she was looking for a dog. She came to me and she's like, what kind of breed? Here's what we're thinking. Like, we really like the look of a Bernese Mountain Dog. And I was like, yeah, I think that would be cool. It fits like
What
in
you
terms
want.
of
Right.
aesthetically, you think they're beautiful, which matters to a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
there's some performance people who are like, I don't want an ugly dog.
Yeah.
And that's
Fair.
real. So aesthetically, they like it, but also temperament, like what they were looking for from personality, it matched. But Bernese Mountain Dogs are like 140 pounds. And my friend, yeah, and the lifespan and all those things. My friend is like 5'0" and, you know, doesn't want maybe a 140-pound dog potentially. So
Fair.
she, on the internet, found mini Bernese. And what is a mini Bernie? It's a Bernese Mountain Dog mixed with a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. So like,
God.
I'm trying to explain to her like why she should probably just pick one or the other. Like, if you want a Cav, then get a Cav. If you want a burner, then get a burner. But like, the mix has a lot of unpredictability. Like, you could get a giant one, you could get a little one, you could get like one that has the head of a Cav on the body of a Bernie and look kind of silly.
Yeah.
But like, at the end of the day, when I was trying to explain this to her, number one, I felt like I sounded like a eugenicist, purebred psychopath.
We do.
And I'm
Yeah.
speaking a language that is not computing for her.
Yeah.
And like, let's say, all things aside, like maybe this breeder does health testing. Maybe this breeder, you know, is only breeding dogs that have stable temperaments and all of those things. Then like, would she be an evildoer for getting one of those dogs, Rachel, for her
No.
family?
It still kills me, right? Because she came to you and you are educated in the dog world.
But it comes off bitchy.
I know.
Like, I have friends who don't straight up don't
do you know
listen
how
to
much
me because it comes off bitchy.
Arguments I've gotten in the Corgi Club of Philadelphia. It makes me so mad. And
Yeah.
I understand that these are pet people and they're not looking for a great sports dog and they don't care. They care about looks and they care about what these breeders are telling them. But it's not even the fact that they want a blue Merle Pembroke, which is not a real thing. It's the fact that these breeders aren't even health testing.
Right.
Right. And that's the other thing. Like,
So-
at least sport mix breeders are doing the health
Right.
testing. The dogs are proven. Like, maybe not in convo, but
So
they're
you're
definitely
saying
proven.
that the only reason this should be allowed is if they're proven and they're health tested and they're being bred for a specific reason, you're 1000% okay with it. But if they're just being bred to be pets, you're not okay with it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I stand by that.
So my friend would be an evildoer if she got a mini burner.
I hate it. And I would be angry that you took the time to do research for her and educate her. I would be spicy about it.
I feel like I just have to
Wow.
understand where Joe Public is coming from. And here's what I'm going to say too, continuing to be devil's advocate. We talk about, all these sport mix people and breeders and agility breeders, they're all being ethical. And that's bullshit too, because we know that people are breeding dogs where epilepsy's in the lines.
Oh,
We
yes.
know people are breeding dogs who have luxating patellas or not great hips and all those things. So it's really hard to say like all breeders of this are ethical and all breeders of this are
I don't
unethical.
understand that.
I'm going to
Listen,
cut in here. So, I have made it known on my Instagram. Backyard breeders is something I absolutely despise. I've done a lot of, educational posts. And
Yeah, define that. What's the hallmark signs of a backyard breeder? Too?
So what I have said, and when I've changed my thoughts, and I think there is definitely some gray area, but I said that if a backyard breeder is obviously first and foremost not health testing. And when I say health testing, even if they're doing a mix, if they're doing a poodle and a golden retriever, I want to see the health test for both the poodle and the golden retriever.
and like the
club.
recommended by the breed club.
Yes. So if like to be on OFA or to be like chic or something, like I want to see that.
Do we all agree on that?
Yeah,
I think so.
absolutely.
I agree.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then the next thing is I do want to see them being proven in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that we need to go have high level titles on all of these dogs, but I will say, like, if you're looking for an agility dog or you're looking for the next dog diving dog, like, do they have those titles? Like, are there any dogs that are being bred with those titles?
I'm going to debate with you for a second about
Go.
that. Just because
Go.
Vision's mom didn't have high level titles, and I don't think either her maternal grandmother
Okay.
and
all right.
Vision's dad did not have any
Okay,
high
and
level
this is what I will
when he
say
was
on that.
bred. But I
To-
went to someone who had experience breeding dogs for performance.
Right.
And in their lineage were really strong performance.
Okay. So again, what I will say is on Instagram, we have a lot of like new, and I will speak on my breed that I own, Australian Shepherd breeders that are popping up. And they're breeders that are, just started breeding. They have maybe one generation just started their second litter. And they're like, this is going to be a good agility dog. And it's like, well, how? How can we say that it's a good agility dog when this is the first generation and the puppies that are just turning 2 and they're just maybe starting to do performance, but you're saying that like this will be a good, that's what I don't agree with. So yeah, of course, even for Cassian's breeder, there were definitely siblings and there's a lot of relatives with high level titles. So I knew that he would be somewhat decent, right? I didn't go into it blindly. It wasn't like there wasn't anything, but for a new breeder, I'm like, okay, they say agility. I want to see it. I want to see something, If they're having more than like 2 litters a month, I would.
A month?
I mean,
I feel like more than like 4 litters a year.
I mean, just in general, there are some breeders who will, like, for instance, Cassian's breeder had 2 litters on the ground this month because that's when both of the bitches came in heat.
Well,
And I don't think that's,
because they
But,
come
like,
eat at the same time.
Opie's breeder, I looked up, I don't know how long ago, had 9 upcoming litters in just the past 3 months.
So that to
So-
me, it's like they're
That's fine.
breeding for profit,
Correct.
not for the betterment of the
Yes,
breed,
yes.
which is, I think, a big sign
Yeah.
of a backyard breeder is someone who's breeding to make money. Because even when I was growing up and my dad's girlfriend had like, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 litters of Rottweilers over the course of like 10 years, she would always be like, you do not breed to make money. In fact, you usually lose money on
money.
litters
Right.
by the
And
time
yeah,
you
I feel
spend
like
all
any
the,
reputable breeder
Breeder
will
says that.
tell you that.
yeah.
Yeah. The next thing I will say is like, what is the biggest red flag for a backyard breeder? So we're going through the list here. No health testing, no titles, and then a lot of litters on the ground. The last thing I will say is we're not talking sport mixes here. We're just talking purebreds off standard colors. If they are breeding, like for instance, like if they have a litter of all fluffy corgis, no. No. Absolutely not.
Because
Absolutely
Fluffy
Is
is
a recessive.
It's a fault.
It's a fault.
Huge fault. It's a DQ. Like, I could never, ever, ever show Chessie in conformation because she's a fault.
But it's really funny because you said you would never want a corgi if it weren't a Fluffy.
Yeah, because I have one.
So
and I
it's
love her.
desirable, but it's a
Yes,
fault.
Yes, but is it a recessive gene? And Fluffies can pop up in reputable breeders' litters, which is how I got my girl. They just go to pet homes, and that's where I was.
And I think that's why sometimes there's a gray area because, yes, Fluffies can pop up in like reputable breeders. Litters.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What if you had not spayed Chessie
Mhm.
and you bred her for performance corgis to another corgi that happened to be a Fluffy?
I would be shunned.
Right, but that's
You-
the same concept of a sport mix.
It's different.
How?
It's just different. It's something that I can't wrap my head around.
But if it would be a combination that would be really good at sports and has nothing to do with breed standards like every other sport mix, why not?
I understand what you're saying. I really, really do. But I would never do it because it crosses my ethical line. That's my hard stop. I would not, because I would lose the respect of all of the Pembroke people that I've gained.
But don't you think the first people who were breeding border paps and
Absolutely, I'm
sport
sure it was the
mixes
same
lost
way.
respect? There's one lady in Europe who had a border pap, and they're not sport mixes are not common there, and
no.
really
Right.
still kind of taboo, I would say, from my understanding. And I've seen like the hate on her Instagram of people like calling her border pap hideous and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, I'm
So,
sure there is. Yeah.
I mean, it's just an interesting question. I'm challenging you,
You
but
are.
it's because I want to understand like where is the line, and
That
that's
is my line.
what it comes down to is that there is a lot of gray area, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of lines that are hard to explain why we
are.
hold them.
And I think to us personally, being very well versed in the dog world and this dog sport universe that we have obviously dove headfirst into, we understand it. But to the average pet person, like for instance, I had a family member reach out to me about trying to find a puppy, and I did all this research, all this stuff, and was going to go to one of the reputable breeders that I found and took hours out of my day to try and research and find. And then wouldn't you know it, they go to a backyard breeder who let her pick the puppy, and they were way overpriced, and they were off standard color, and there was no health testing, and like that just broke my heart a little bit. It made me really sad.
So along with the off-standard color, another thing you always bring up is letting people pick based on color and charging more for different colors, special colors. Like what about like a Blue Merle Fluffy Frenchie? Those should cost $12,000, don't you think?
God, go die.
They should be in a garbage can.
Okay, I want to talk about some other hallmark signs of like good breeder versus backyard breeder. Here's a big one for me.
Yes, go.
And this goes into like the toxicity of adopt, don't shop as a phrase or like a mantra of people. So in my opinion, reputable breeder should take a dog back at any time in their life for any reason.
1000%.
Because no dog that's ever been bred by what I would consider an ethical breeder would ever end up in a shelter. So that's like the biggest thing you hear people, the shelters are full, and why are we breeding if shelters are full? Well, guess what? Like the breeders that you and I would go to now that we know better and that we've gotten dogs from would never let their dogs go to a shelter. They would always take them back in a heartbeat. So that to me is like another massive sign of a really reputable breeder who has that in a contract that you sign.
And like the sport mix breeders are the same way too. They're breeding these dogs. They're not going to just let them end up in a shelter. They're going to take them back. They're going to find another sport appropriate home for them. Like probably have a wait list. Someone would be willing to take on an adult if that was their option. Maybe they don't want to deal with the puppy phase. So I feel like the sport mix breeders are doing the same thing as well. They're not going to let these dogs just end up in a shelter. Listen, I'm sure there are sport mix breeders where the dogs didn't end up in a shelter because of unfortunate circumstances. But for the most part, if they are reputable, if they're doing all the right things, they're doing the health testing and everything, they're not going to.
I think what it comes down to, though, what worries people is like Nimble One, Westminster. She is a border pap.
Correct.
There was maybe like some misunderstanding on the internet of people being like the first mixed breed dog to
Well,
blah,
there
blah,
was
blah.
there
And
was
it's like,
an article
then
that said
people
that like it was
assume
a rescue, and I was like, it was not a rescue
because people
Yeah.
assume a mixed
Yeah.
breed was from a shelter.
I actually
And
I
then
looked up that whole post on one of the Facebook groups. It was like agility critique, and someone made a post about it, and I was reading through the comments, and they were quite mixed, actually. Like, some people were like, yeah, but like, who's to say a shelter dog couldn't win Westminster on one hand? And we know that Nimble was bred to do this,
Mhm.
but they were also like, don't shun the shelter dogs. They could do this too.
Yeah.
So people in support for the shelter dogs, but then on the other hand, people were like, yeah, it's not the same thing, because Nimble was literally bred to do agility. Like,
Yeah.
he was bred to be a good sports dog. And people are now going to confuse this or look for this breed.
Yeah, I think that's the other fear is like now something that was relatively obscure and niche and only a certain community was like
Knew
seeking
about
out
it.
these mixes is now going to become like a fad.
Yes.
And that what my opinion is that whenever something becomes a fad, that's when things go downhill really fast in terms of the breed's
I
health.
think we both can
Tied
relate,
to
right?
popularity,
You have
yeah.
Frenchies. I have a Corgi. Like,
Yeah.
we
I
all
have
know these
Aussies.
very fad breeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that to me brings up the topic of doodles.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, I am relatively pro doodle in certain senses
Yeah.
because it feels hypocritical to say I'm pro sport mixes and anti doodle, but I'm not in favor of doodles skyrocketing to popularity and everybody trying to make a buck off them and every family thinking, oh, this is going to be like the greatest hypoallergenic, easy to take care of, easy to train family
Yeah.
dog
Right.
just because they're so popular.
I think what I have the issue with is I just posted maybe a month or so ago this doodle breeder that is selling their doodles for like $16,000. That is literally insane. Why are we charging people? And I'm sure there's people out there that are like, yeah, it was this exclusive mix and like it's worth that
Yeah.
much. And then they call them like, you know, these crazy colored names, like it's
Yeah.
rare or something.
Right.
And it's like, oh
Yeah.
my
Or
goodness,
even like horrible
stop.
stories about like puppy mills where
Yeah.
they're, you know, selling these red poodles for like $10,000 to
Yeah.
have like litter after litter after litter because that color is sought after, or just like making these
Or
really...
the teddy bear golden doodles that are sold for $10,000 because they look like a teddy bear.
Yeah.
No, it's just how you cut their fur. That's all that it's just grooming.
I mean, I think it's really, you know, someone sent in a hot take to us, which was there's no such thing as an ethical doodle breeder. And I could not disagree more because number one, it's impossible to say there's no such thing as anything ever because we have not vetted every person. And I
Correct.
think that it's very likely that there are people who are breeding poodle mixes ethically, doing health testing, having, you know, great ethics in the way that they're raising and placing their puppies.
Yeah.
And the problem is like the miseducated public who
Right.
thinks doodle equals great family dog.
Yeah. Well, I think I told both of you, but I guess I should admit it here on the podcast. Before Henry and I got Obi, my husband, Henry, is actually allergic to cats and dogs. So we looked at Aussie doodles for a little bit before we ended up getting an actual Australian Shepherd because
It's
we
popular.
were under the impression
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not going to shed and it won't
Right.
cause Henry to sneeze and cough and have itchy red eyes, but now he just has to deal with it because we have two Aussies. But I fell for it. I reached out to a couple Aussie doodle breeders, and this just goes to show I didn't really like the look of them. They
Right.
were all like a little deranged looking, or they had the White Walker blue eyes, and I couldn't stand that. I hate Aussies with blue eyes. I just don't like it. And they were also really expensive. They were all like $4,000 to $6,000, and we didn't have $6,000 that we wanted
$6,000
to drop on a dog.
I
And
mean-
then we found Obi, who was
What did
like
we all say? We all said like
$1,400.
a normal
So-
amount to spend on a well-bred dog would
I
be
would
like
say
25.
2,500.
to 2,500.
Yeah.
If you're spending more than that, I'm concerned.
Yeah, because I mean, Cassian was $2,000. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
that's not a secret. If you're paying more than that, oof.
Then they're probably driven
Ooh.
by profit.
Correct. Yeah.
And they're upcharging for special features
Yeah.
like color and things like that.
Mhm.
So I guess at the end of the day, like there's a lot of points that we agree on. Maybe
Yeah,
some certain
for
things
sure.
that there's gray area. And like just want to reiterate, We're not experts. These are just our
No,
opinions.
even if I act like an expert on Instagram, I'm really not.
And you get a lot of hate for acting like an expert on
Because I'm not a
Instagram.
breeder and I know nothing. And
Yeah,
who
you
am
have
I?
had people
Who am
really
I?
come at you. Like,
Really?
she's never bred. What does she have to say? And it's
Yeah.
like, okay. I think it's always, to me, it's always about being able to explain like the why behind your opinion. Like, why do you think what you think? And, you know, everyone doesn't have to agree about every single thing, but I think we want people to seek out dogs where the breeders are putting the health and well-being and safety of the dogs first.
And temperament.
I'll just add in quickly that I actually looked up sport mixes or like border paps on the Pure Bred Snobs Facebook group. I was actually shocked by some of the responses to some of the posts about sport mixes in general. The general opinion basically was that most people are actually for sport mixes as long as the health testing is happening. The breeder's going to take them back.
Everybody hates
doodles. Everyone hates doodles.
I feel like it's hypocritical.
And that's on the Pure Bred Snob Facebook group.
That's kind of crazy.
So,
yeah.
I think that it's really interesting to see probably the way that that's changed over time. You and I, all of us, we have not been in dog sports that long or in the dog world that long. And I bet if we were having this conversation even 10 years ago, it would be a very different conversation.
Yeah.
Even if it was like maybe 2 years ago, I probably would have been against a sport mix.
Yeah.
I remember when a friend of mine who knows I am very pro, ethical, reputable, well-bred, purebred breeder told me she was getting a sports mix and she was like, please don't hate me. And I was like, I don't hate you. and then now I'm pro sport mixes and I've changed post on my own personal Instagram and changed my opinions. And I did get some lashback from that. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think we're all pro sport mixes and we're like 50-50 on the doodles.
But I'm not pro all sport mixes.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like I'm pro people doing it all for the right reason.
Correct. Yeah. So can I
of the
ask
dog.
us all, if we were to have a sport mix, what sport mix would you have?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that I'd be more interested in like the size factor.
That's fair.
And I don't know if I'm interested in a mix that includes a lot of terrier. I feel like they can have a lot of challenges. So for that reason, probably the ones that I've been most drawn to are the border paps.
Yeah. Yeah. I do love the border paps. I think they are absolutely adorable. You know, I am really obsessed with Cinco, and I know he's Jack Russell, Border Collie. What else is he?
Is he Staffy?
Yeah, Staffy. And I think he is so cute. I love him. I love that little dog. I just want a Cinco, actually. So, and he's perfect size. I think he's a great size. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not too big, not too small.
Yeah, he beats me all the time.
I know.
Super fast.
I know. He's so fast. He's so amazing. Rachel?
Border pap all the way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Small dogs forever.
I know.
Okay. So before we wrap up today, because this was such a fun way to have hot takes about things, I want to introduce like another fun segment that we might bring back from time to time based on an ESPN show.
What was it called?
Pardon the Interruption is the name of the show, but the segment is called Around the Horn, and they basically have these topics on the side of the screen, and then they give the people like 2 minutes to debate. We are going to have a topic, and 2 of us are going to debate it. 1 minute each, and we're going to cut you off like real hard with a buzzer sound.
Perfect.
Who's
up first?
Lizzie and Rachel.
Okay.
And you're going to debate dog book is toxic.
Oh, yeah.
Ready.
It's 1000%. It's toxic. Everybody is so mean on dog book, so judgmental.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
What?
No.
Yes, it is so toxic.
Why is dog book so toxic?
They're mean. I got fucking ripped apart. Or, well, I didn't get ripped apart, actually. I got, uplifted mostly. But, like, somebody posted my dog's head on a dog book group.
For the most part, dog book is, like, like calling out, like, shitty breeders, abusive dog owners, like...
Yeah, but let's talk about purebred
dogs.
Snobs. They are snobby and uppity.
Yes, so am I.
Yeah, and who said I like you?
Ooh. Yeah, no, purebred snobs is purebred snobs. That's why they rip on people who bring up mutts, and it's not for mixed dogs.
I still stand by what I said. It is toxic. It can be a very toxic
then
group.
Then leave the group.
Okay.
And that's our time. Dog book is toxic. Okay. let's go to our next topic. I'm going to say the topic is dog sports are inclusive to non-majority groups of people. And who wants to debate me? Lizzie?
Yeah, I'll debate you on that.
Okay.
Ready.
Go.
I would say that dog sports are a very white place.
Yes.
And
I mean,
in that sense, I find them to be not that inclusive in the sense that most people don't really think about that when they're approaching the way that they treat people, especially who don't look like them.
Yeah. Am I supposed to disagree with you? Because I don't.
No, you just say your piece.
Yeah, I do not disagree at all. I think it is very not inclusive at all. I've heard stories about it not being very inclusive. And I'm,
Not being
I'm
a safe
friends
space.
with people who have talked to me about feeling sometimes like they're out of place in a very predominantly white
dominated sport.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think that one place that dog sports has been a little bit more inclusive is possibly, of course, I don't belong to this group, but maybe to the queer community. Like, I feel like there are a lot of people who identify as LGBTQ plus in dog sports, and it like attracts people from that community in a way that maybe they're able to find like their safe space with dogs. So what do you think about that?
I would agree with that. I mean, I know that we know quite a few people in our own area, but there's probably some people that are not very welcoming too to that area. Yeah. But I think what I will say on that is in our area specifically, we have very open-minded, like we're very welcoming and open, but I'm sure in other areas, they're probably not as welcoming and open.
I think maybe there's like a foot in the door for inclusivity, but there's still a really, really, really long way to go.
Yeah.
So that was our little quick debate around the horn. And that was fun. So I hope you love this hot take episode. Let us know what other hot takes you want us to get spicy about and talk about.
And have Rachel yell at us for.
And have me like challenge you mercilessly.
Yeah, we love it.
But yeah, or maybe you want to come chat with us about it on our podcast too. We had our first guest last episode, so maybe we need to have more guests.
Yes.
So that's all we have for you today. This was super fun.
It was
and
so fun.
Please make sure that you hit us up on Instagram and tell us your hot takes about sport mixes, doodles, and all of the above.
Yep.
And find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Amazon, on YouTube Podcasts, and we're releasing every 2 weeks.
And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Bitches in Season, or on Facebook, Bitches with a 1. All right. We will see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.